years ago.
How many island references can we make? Goonies, Lord of the Flies,
The Lonely Island. It's a
Castaway, The Lonely Island Boys, Bobsled Team, Cool Runnings.
So it's not about an island.
They
It's about
literally.
a bobsled team.
If that was in Iceland, if they were in Iceland, that wouldn't make any sense. Like Disney wouldn't have made a movie on the Iceland bobsledding team, Cool Runnings.
I don't get it.
Speaking of another movie, Mighty Ducks, Iceland.
Gunnar Stahl,
Gunnar Stahl. Yeah.
best hockey player of all time, but Julie the Cat Gaffney stops him. Don't go glove side on Gaffney.
Don't go glove side. Never go glove side. Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Tiger TV. Dave looks way better than I do, and I am wearing just an Under Armour t-shirt.
Lazy.
Today we're talking about the Island of Me. Dave, what's the Island of Me?
The Island of Me describes a player or a team full of these specific types of players who focus only on themselves, on their game at all times. They're not worried about their teammates. They're not worried about anything but themselves. So they go 0 for 1 in a game. They're on the end of the bench pouting. They're only worried about their performance. They're not a team player per se.
How is it created? Like, is it over time, or is it in the person's DNA?
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, we need to focus on ourselves. You know, that's what you're doing in the cage, working at your craft. But a lot of outside pressures can force the Island of Me to occur. So, for instance, we coach high school level athletes in the summer. I mean, if that high school athlete's trying to gain a scholarship, he's going to put a lot of pressures on himself and ultimately think only about his successes on and off the field.
I think the recruiting process really causes that, because you go from when you're youth to about 15. It's going to get earlier just because of the recruiting process.
Right.
But right about the 16-year-old mark, you start seeing guys start switching to, I got to worry about myself.
Yeah.
I have to make sure that I make the top 10 plays. I have to do all that, which is funny because it's usually not those plays that get them recruited. It's the plays that are routine, how they handle struggle, how they handle pain, like that type of stuff.
Right. No, I mean, in the minute a scout shows up, they're like, man, I hope I'm on the field. I better be the one pitching that game. I better be the one hitting 3-hole. They're only worried about you.
And what's funny is that the player is so worried about like his results, but he's not realizing that the scout talks to the coach. So you need to be a team player. And that's kind of like where it ends up to being the equalizer, that you have to be a good person. You have to be a team player. Those guys that are team players, those are the dudes that end up being the big name guy. Like, oh, he went to this school. So it's trying to figure out how to have that balancing act of self-interest and teamwork.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the first things that we talk about with players, because this happens every single year, and it's tough to not have happen as teenage, human beings. But we talk about celebrating each other's successes. So being as interested in your teammates' success as you are in your own. And a lot of times when that happens, we find that players raise their level of game so much because they're not worried about the little things.
Yeah.
They're not worried about that umpire just called a strike 6 inches outside of the zone on me. They're shrug that off, man. My boy over here at third base just made a heck of a play. I love it.
Yep. It takes a special person to really, when he's struggling, to get outside of the dugout when someone else has a success. Like, it takes a very special person, because as easy as it sounds, like, oh, I just got to get out of the dugout when something good happens, it's actually really hard when you start equating the emotions of a player, especially like the teenage level. Like, when you're a teenager, you're a one-track mind. You're not thinking of all these different variables. So when we look at players and we evaluate them, and I'm talking more of a college standpoint, is that, like, I'm looking for that guy that's going to jump out of the dugout and just high-five everybody. Like, he's just thrilled to be there.
You hear college coaches talk about it all the time. They say they don't want to see the guy who goes 4 for 4. They never experience failure. They want to see what that guy does after his first strikeout of the game. How does he react to it? Does he, again, go onto that Island of Me, or does he switch back? Does he take back control of that game? They want to see how you react to failure.
Exactly. Guys, that's our edition of Tiger TV. Today we have a sponsor for this video is
Game Day USA.
I honestly did not know that. He actually just called that out. He planned it out and said Game Day USA. That's why I was a little hesitant on it. So Game Day USA.
Who are they?
They are a tournament company based out of Chicago, well, the greater Chicago area. Great events. They actually go all across the United States. Right now, they're in Florida, which of this recording, it is January, so they have a big event going down in Florida. A couple of our Tiger players are going to be going down there.
The amount on that sheet is not correct.
The amount on the sheet is not correct.
Oh.
Well, we don't know the discount amount, but you can go on the VIP section and get that amount. So they're a vendor of us, GameDayUSA.com. Type it in, check out their events, and register for them. So
Thanks, guys.
that's it.
That's it, I guess.
We didn't-
Like, really kind of just got...
I know. Shannon came out of nowhere, out of left field.
Sorry.